everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into a question we've all pondered: how to really nail teaching physical skills to adults. We're no strangers to Bloom's taxonomy, right? So we're going deeper, exploring the psychomotor domain, that hands-on stuff. Get ready for insights that go way beyond the basics.
You know, what's fascinating about the psychomotor domain is it's not just about going through the motions. It gets into the nitty-gritty of how our brains actually master a skill. And this is huge for adult learners because they're bringing years of experience, different learning styles, all that to the table.
Okay, so let's break this down. Bloom's taxonomy, we've got our three big domains, right? Cognitive, the thinking; affective, the feeling; and psychomotor, the doing. But you're saying there's a whole lot of thinking going on even within that doing part.
Exactly. It's all connected. Picture this.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Drew, a total tech whiz, just wrapped up teaching an IT troubleshooting class. Now, Drew knows his stuff, but his students left feeling more lost than when they started. Got the info, but couldn't quite put it into practice.
Oh, I've been there. It's one thing to grasp the concepts, but actually applying them, especially when it involves physical dexterity or technical precision, that's where things get real.
And that's where the psychomotor domain comes in. Drew's friend, Alexa, she's hip to this concept, suggests he weaves it into his teaching. Could this be the missing piece? You know, that bridge between information overload and actual mastering a skill. Let's dive into the stages and see.
All right, I'm ready to climb those stairs to mastery, one step at a time.
It all starts, and this might surprise you, with the mind. That's right, the first stage is observation.
Okay, so before we even move a muscle, we've got to get our brains in gear. How does that work, especially with adults who might have their own set ways of doing things, from experience?
Think of it like laying the foundation, right? Adults learn by watching, but not just passively.
Yeah.
They're analyzing, connecting it to what they already know, building a picture in their minds. It's about giving them those crystal clear demonstrations, detailed instructions, maybe even virtual simulations, anything that helps them visualize the process before they even try it.
So it's not just showing them what to do, but helping them understand the why and the how behind it. For Drew's IT class, that might be showing real-life examples of, say, hardware malfunctions, or giving them flowcharts to break down those troubleshooting steps visually.
Now you're getting it. It's about those multiple entry points for understanding, catering to different learning styles, and making that crucial connection, taking the abstract and making it real, practical.
All right, so we've got those mental blueprints, right? Now it's time to, roll up our sleeves and get hands-on. That's where imitation comes in stage 2.
You got it. This is where the real practice kicks in. And for adult learners, this can be a bit loaded. They might be thinking, why change now? I've done it my way for ages. Or they might feel a little self-conscious about messing up.
So how do we, as, instructors or facilitators, how do we create that space where they feel comfortable trying things out, especially with something like IT troubleshooting, where a mistake could feel, kind of intimidating?
Structure is key.
Yeah.
And so is good feedback. Instead of just throwing them in the deep end, give them chances to practice without the pressure. What about simulations, role-playing, even working on, dummy systems where messing up is, well, it's not a big deal.
Right, like having those training wheels on a bike. But instead of physical support, it's more about giving them that mental and emotional support to try things out.
Exactly. And as they gain confidence, through repetition, we can slowly up the ante, introduce those real-world challenges, encourage them to use those new skills in a safe environment.
Okay, so they've observed, they've imitated, they're feeling more confident. What's the next step on this climb?
Stage 3 is where we see that shift towards independence manipulation. They're not just copying anymore. They're starting to adapt, adjust, following instructions, but also making their own choices as they go.
So for our tech whiz, Drew, this might mean giving his students a troubleshooting checklist, but letting them figure things out on their own, using the checklist as a guide instead of, a rule book, right?
Exactly. Finding that balance is key, providing structure, but also fostering autonomy. We want them to feel empowered to tackle those challenges on their own, but knowing there's a safety net if they need it.
And I imagine this is where different learning styles really come into play. Some people might love that checklist, while others might want to just dive in and learn by, trial and error.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One size doesn't fit all, right? Maybe you offer different levels of support depending on what each person needs, or provide a variety of resources. Some people might need those step-by-step manuals, while others might prefer interactive troubleshooting guides.
So it's about meeting learners where they're at, recognizing that their past experiences and how they like to learn will impact how they approach this stage.
Precisely. And as they navigate this manipulation stage, they're getting better, more precise, more efficient, and way more confident what they can do.
Which brings us to stage 4, precision. Sounds like we're moving past the basics now, getting those techniques down pat, aiming for a higher level, right?
Exactly. They're not satisfied with just getting it done anymore. They want to do it well. Think of a musician who's got those basic chords down, and now they're focused on like the timing, the tone, the feel, or a chef who's moved past following recipes and is starting to play with flavors, presentation, getting artistic.
So for those IT troubleshooters, this might be about streamlining their process, right? Pinpointing and solving those issues faster, more accurately, maybe even mentoring those who are just starting out.
And this is where deliberate practice is crucial. Encourage them to set goals, break down those complex tasks into bite-sized pieces, and really focus on improving those specific parts of their technique.
So it's not just going through the motions anymore. It's about being intentional, focusing on those details, always looking for ways to improve, to get better at it.
Exactly. It's about nurturing that mindset of continuous improvement. Encourage them to see challenges as opportunities, to analyze their mistakes, and to view each practice session as a chance to grow.
Now this is getting exciting because we're moving beyond just like technical proficiency. We're talking about artistry, expertise.
Absolutely. And that leads us beautifully into the 5th stage, articulation, where learners start to blend those skills together seamlessly, adapt to new situations, and even come up with their own solutions.
So they're not just following the script anymore. They're like writing their own lines. For our IT crew, this might be facing a completely new system error, something they've never seen before, and they've got to use everything they've learned to figure it out.
Exactly. They've got the confidence to go off script, improvise, even teach others. They're not just mastering the skill anymore, they're making it their own.
It's like they're jazz musicians now, taking a familiar melody, but riffing, creating something totally new and unique. That's what mastery looks like.
And that takes us to the peak, the final stage, naturalization. Now we're talking about a level where the skill is almost instinctive.
Yeah.
It's just like part of who they are, how they operate.
It's like they don't even have to think about it anymore, right? Second nature just flows out of them, like breathing or riding a bike once you finally get it.
Exactly. And, not everyone's going to reach this level for every single skill, but it's that ultimate goal, right? For those IT troubleshooters, this could mean instantly spotting a problem, just a flicker on a screen, a tiny hum from a server. They just know. They become those go-to gurus, the ones solving problems before anyone else even knows they exist.
Wow. Talk about next level expertise. But how do we as educators or mentors, how do we even measure something like that? It's not like we can give them a pop quiz on instinct or naturalization, can we?
You're right. Traditional tests just won't cut it here. We need to go beyond those check marks, those grades. We've got to focus on the qualitative stuff. Remember those measures we talked about? Agility, precision, endurance, speed. Those become even more important at this stage.
So we're looking at how well they adapt to new situations, how consistent they are, even under pressure, how long they can keep that focus, keep performing at a high level.
Exactly. Think about a marathon runner, right? It's not just about finishing the race. It's the pacing, the endurance, pushing through that wall and keeping good form even when they're miles in. Or a surgeon doing some incredibly precise procedure. Every movement has to be perfect, controlled for hours on end.
We're talking observation, really watching them in action, looking for those subtle cues that tell us what their mastery looks like, and then giving them feedback, helping them refine, take it even further.
And this is where understanding those different tastes on the psychomotor domain can be really helpful. Remember, we talked about different approaches, some blending observation and imitation, others focused on the physical aspects, others emphasizing that creative combination of skills.
Right. Like those dance instructors, Jimmy and Liz. They realized that one teaching method just didn't work for everyone. They had to switch things up, try different things because different skills, even within the same field, might need different teaching strategies.
That's it. So as you're planning your lessons, your workshops, really think about the specific skill, the way your students learn best, even your own teaching style. Don't be afraid to experiment. Borrow ideas from different experts and find what clicks for you and the people you're teaching.
That just makes sense, right? There's no magic formula for teaching, just like there's no single path to mastery. It's about finding the methods, the strategies that resonate, that get people excited, that ultimately help those learners reach their full potential.
And that's the beauty of this whole psychomotor domain, right? It reminds us that learning is active, it's engaging, it's personal. It's about connecting your brain and your body, putting knowledge into action, and really, truly experiencing that joy of mastering something.
This has been an incredible deep dive. Honestly, I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how complex, how artistic mastering a skill really is.
And I hope our listeners feel empowered to approach their own teaching or even their own learning with a fresh set of eyes. Because even the toughest skills, they could be broken down, practiced, and yeah, even mastered with the right approach and a whole lot of passion.
To everyone listening, whether you're teaching a technical skill, coaching, or just trying to get better at something you love, remember, mastery is a journey. It's not about the destination. Embrace those stages, try different things, and celebrate those wins along the way.
And never forget the power of observing, imitating, practicing, and most of all, the joy of lifelong learning.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the psychomotor domain. We'll catch you next time for another exciting exploration.